Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Despite the increase in the intensity of offensive operations since August 2025, Russian troops remain slow and limited in their progress. That is according to Jessica Sobieski and Jenny Olmsted, analysts at the Institute for the Study of War, who assessed the prospects for the defense of the rest of the Donetsk region. According to their calculations, even if the current Russian operational pace is sustained, the stability of Ukrainian defenses and continuous Western support remain unchanged. It would take Russia until at least the August of 2027 to capture the remaining 22% of the Donetsk region, still under Ukrainian control. And this is an optimistic scenario for the Kremlin, by the way. The actual time frame, according to the Institute for the Study of War, will almost certainly be longer than that, as the pace in the fall of 2025 is partially explained by seasonal weather factors rather than the breakthrough capabilities of the Russian army. Analysts emphasize that the dominance of drones on the battlefield effectively deprives Russia of the ability to wage the kind of maneuvering warfare necessary for rapid operational breakthroughs. In addition to that, the occupying forces have not yet encountered large, heavily fortified urban areas such as Sloviansk or Kramatorsk, and since 2022 have not demonstrated the ability to quickly surround or capture areas like that. According to ISW estimates, the campaign to capture the rest of the Donetsk region, including Ukraine's fortification belt, will be extremely costly and exhausting for the Russian army. Heavy losses sustained during months of assaults on the city of Pokrovsk have already revealed the limits of Russia's offensive capabilities, and these problems have not gone away. At the same time, experts do not rule out that in 2026 the Kremlin will try to make this direction a priority, either through direct pressure on the fortification belt itself or through attempts to quickly encircle it. In particular, there has been an increase in Russian activity in the areas of Liman and Siversk, which may indicate preparations for a potential offensive on Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. At the same time, Russia may try to put pressure on the southern part of the defensive line, particularly on Konstantinivka. However, the success of such actions will directly depend on local tactical results, the ability to cross the Siversky Donetsk River, advance west of Siversk and maintain logistics under constant fire from Ukrainian drones and artillery. The overall picture, according to the Institute for the Study of War, remains unchanged. Even Russia's intensified offensive shows no signs of a rapid strategic breakthrough and is hampered by the resilience of Ukrainian defenses, the nature of modern warfare, and the high cost of every kilometer of advance. Now, the Russians are increasingly integrating Starlink satellite communications into their military equipment, from armored vehicles to strike UAVs. This was confirmed once again by fighters from the Kraken Special Forces unit, together with neighboring units. Enemy armored vehicles equipped with Starlink were detected and destroyed at their positions. Now, according to the military, the evolution is obvious. Previously, the Russians attached satellite communication terminals on the fly, haphazardly and without standardization. But now, the Starlinks are being integrated into Russian gear in a more deliberate fashion. The same applies to the Molniya suicide drones. The Russians have begun to equip them with satellite-controlled channels, sparing no expense on the costly equipment for what is effectively a one-time strike. An interesting detail from downed drones: in the Molniyas, the Russians do not even spend money on specialized computing modules. Starlink is in fact controlled via ordinary single-board computers such as the Raspberry Pi. It is a simple, inexpensive solution that allows for rapid scaling of the use of drones with satellite communications. Now, these facts confirm once again that Russian troops are trying to adapt to the conditions of modern warfare, relying on long-range communications and autonomy. At the same time, Ukrainian units continue to effectively detect and destroy such equipment, turning the expensive technology used by the Russians into scrap metal on the battlefield. Now, Since Starlink has never been officially sold in Russia, the origin of the terminals remains unclear, with battlefield capture or purchase through third countries both being a possibility. However, it's more than just drones with Starlinks. The Russians continue to experiment with improvised aerial weapons, attempting to replicate Ukrainian tactical solutions in the field of UAVs. This time, the enemy demonstrated a so-called analog of the Ukrainian Baba Yaga heavy drone, a design that combines a carrier platform with 4 FPV drones. Now, according to the Russians themselves, the development was supposed to ensure the delivery of FPVs to the deployment area and their subsequent launch at targets. In practice, the tests ended at the initial stage. The platform lost stability, fell to the ground a few meters away from its own launch pad, and caught fire. No combat use was recorded. The test video clearly demonstrates the lack of necessary engineering capability, poor coordination, and complete disregard for safety issues. But then again, this is Russia. If a transport aircraft can break apart mid-air and pilots can eject from a fighter jet parked inside a hangar, then a drone mothership crash landing and going up in smoke doesn't even warrant any raised eyebrows, you see.
Так, испытываем еще одну кастрюлю. Ну давай тогда ее возьмем, вот так раскрутим и кинем просто. Не ссы! О, полетела кастрюля! Ну вот. Вау, 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 вау. Да стой ты, куда побежал, придурок!
Шайтан кастрюля!
Ну вот. Вау, 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 вау.
And with this, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.